Is it better to talk about your anger or to just go deal with it and then talk about it? Hi there, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Syra, the show where I answer your questions about personal growth, mental health, and relationships. Today's question comes from Pavan. Pavan asks, when I get angry, I just want to be left alone. My wife always tells me to talk about it. Which way is right? Sorting it out yourself or talking about it? When I get angry, I just want to be left alone. My wife always tells me to talk about it. Which way is right? Sorting it out yourself or talking it through? Well, you know what I'm going to say. There's no right way. There's no right way. There are ways that work better for you and ways that probably work better for your wife. But there's no right way of coping with your anger. There's just what's going to work and what's going to be the least painful to those around you as you're angry. There's different styles that people have when they get angry, right? Some people get angry outwardly, like they shout, they kind of yell, they are like expressive of their anger, it comes out. Some people go in, they withdraw, they disconnect, they become unavailable emotionally, and then there's all the ways in between, right? So some combination of all the ways in between. Now, when we think about what your style is of getting angry, it sounds like the way that you asked the question that your style is probably to just keep it quiet, go inside and not say much about it. And it might take you some time to get to a point where you're actually able to speak about it. And I want to tell you why. So when we get angry, depending on how intense our anger is and what our history, what's our history of our relationship with anger, there's a possibility that when you get angry that you actually go into your fight or flight mode. Your thinking mind shuts down and your feeling mind is awake and you can't really think. Now, when we're in our fight or flight mode, so fight would be that, and the flight would be the withdrawing. And then there's other things that we do as well, but those are the two big ones. When we're in that mode, it's very hard to actually talk productively about what we're feeling, because the feeling, the language parts of our brain that are able to articulate in a way that someone else could understand are kind of offline. And what's online is the feelings that just, the part of us that just wants to stay safe. And so it makes sense if you know you're a person who the wrong things are going to come out of my mouth if I say it, then it's, I think, really healthy for you to step away, take some time, cool off, breathe, get back into your right mind, and then have a conversation. I think that's really, really healthy. Now, part of it might be actually explaining that to your partner, right? Explaining to your wife that, I actually need to walk away and be quiet for a bit because it helps me sort out what I'm thinking and I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. Now, you have that conversation not in the middle of the fight. You have that conversation at some other time, some random time when nothing much is going on. Just drop that in. I've noticed, that when we get into arguments, you want to talk about it and I don't. And one of the reasons I don't is because I need time to kind of sort out what I'm going through. I kind of go through it internally and then I'll come to you with my conclusions. I don't really need to talk to get through it. You kind of have to have that conversation with your partner so that they understand what you're doing. Because if your partner is someone who needs to talk things through, then she's going to think, oh, he's not talking things through, therefore we're not going to resolve anything. But that's not how you process, right? So having that conversation outside of the fight zone is important. There's a saying that one of my teachers taught me, because I'm a person who kind of wants to like talk it out, or I used to really want to like talk it out and get to the bottom of it, and then then we're fine, then everybody's fine. But my partner, he's kind of the way you're describing, where he wants to kind of take his time, do the internal processing, and then come back. And one of my mentors said to me, she said, when the dragon goes into his cave, let him go. And if you follow him in, be prepared to get burned. And so when she kind of coached me on that, I kind of got it. that, because I would follow him around the house and try to like have conversations with him, and he's just like, and so that really opened my eyes to how different people process emotion differently, and to give my partner, to respect my partner enough to give them the space to not talk about it, and vice versa. If you're the one who doesn't talk about it, to make some space where your partner can process it, and you can just, you can continue to remain in your space. You can listen without necessarily interacting, and set that up beforehand. The third thing I would say, so I talked about different styles of anger. We talked about the fight or flight, and why we act in these different ways. Finally, I want to talk about emotion regulation. So you've probably heard about IQ, right? Intellectual quotient, which was a way that we measured smartness for a long time. It's not really as cut and dry as we used to think. It's more complex than that. One of the newer things that we've been talking about is EQ, which is our emotional quotient, which is how versed we are in experiencing our emotions, being able to name our emotions, and being able to communicate our emotions. So the ability to feel it, understanding what it is that you're feeling, and then being able to share with another what it is that you're feeling. It takes work to develop that skill, because many of us were not raised in a context where that was support. Like, if you felt something, it's like, go to your room. I don't want to, like, you can't be here if you're going to feel that way, right? So we haven't really developed the skills to let ourselves feel something, understand what it is we're feeling, and then communicating it in an effective way. Many of us who are adults don't have that yet. So we have to learn it. And one of the ways to learn it is start with the first step. So first of all, what is it that am I feeling something? This is a feeling, right? So just noticing when you're feeling something, being able to name that feeling for yourself. What is it that I'm feeling? Oh, is this sadness? Is this frustration? Maybe it's a combination of things. And then the third part would be, am I able to now tell someone else about it? It sounds from the question like you maybe know you're feeling something, maybe you even know what it is that you're feeling, but the third part about being able to communicate that feeling, that's the part that needs a bit of tweaking. So just go through that process and just practice. Or you could just keep doing things the way that you have been. But I think over time, if couples don't talk about these things and we don't actually make accommodations for each other, then we just miss each other, right? Then there's a lost opportunity for actual deeper bonding and understanding. So those are my thoughts on that question. Great question. Thank you very much, Pavan. And we will see you next time. If you have a question that you want some answers to, feel free to send me a note through an email. The email address is at the end of the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.